A police officer sent me his report on a hitchhiker, and now I understand why you should never stop. My best friend left a voicemail on my phone 2 nights ago. His voice was a shard of glass, and all it said was, "Kai, they're trying to bury it. Don't let them." His name is Ian, and he's a deputy out in Iroquois County. We came up through the academy together, but I burned out. He stayed. He's the most grounded, no-nonsense man I've ever known. The kind of guy who sees a UFO and checks for swamp gas before he even considers aliens. When he sent me the file, it wasn't attached to an email with a subject line. It was a link from a burner, sent via a messaging app I had to download. The only text was, "My official report." They want it gone. You hold a copy. What follows is that report, exactly as he wrote it. I haven't been able to reach him since. INC Dent report, unclassified. Civilian interaction. Deputy Ian Das Shield. 4118. They call Route 33 the Gray Ribbon. It's 90 miles of hypnotic, sun-baked asphalt cutting through nothing but cornfields and sky. It's a road that makes you tired just by looking at it. For the last 2 months, it's been the source of every strange call we've gotten. They're all about the same man. The description never changes. Impossibly tall, thin as a starved dog. His skin is the color of old paper, and he always carries a worn leather briefcase in his left hand. The calls come from truckers running late, from college kids driving home, from families on vacation. They see him standing by the mile markers. Sometimes in the shimmering heat of noon, sometimes in fog so thick it swallows your high beams. He never waves, just sticks out a thumb. And to those who stop, he says the same thing. Not right away, but eventually. The last driver and I had a disagreement about the destination. It's a strange thing to say. Vague. Unsettling to say. Vague. Unsettling. Especially out here where the next sign of life is an hour away. No cab company on earth would take a fare this deep into the sticks. The ones who give him a ride all tell the same story. He gets in, quiet and polite. Then the talking starts. A low, steady murmur. He doesn't seem to care if you answer. He just talks. And he knows things. One farmer's wife, Delia, picked him up in her pickup. She said he started talking about the locket she wore, the one her mother gave her. She said he started talking about the locket she wore, one her mother gave her. Then he described, in perfect detail, the tiny faded photograph of her brother inside it. A brother who died 20 years ago in a different state. Delia pulled over and made him get out right then. A trucker told me the man recited the serial numbers off a rifle he had locked in a safe back in his house, 300 miles away. Another driver, a kid named Petey, said the man just laughed, a dry rustling sound, and told him the exact score of a video game he'd been playing right before he left the house. They all drop him off somewhere along the ribbon. But this is the part that makes my skin crawl. Every single one of them, without fail, sees him again. Standing at the very next mile marker, not even looking out of breath. Just standing there. Briefcase in his left hand. Thumb out. I had to see for myself. Date: Thursday, October 19th, time 01:43 a.m. Location Route 33, mile marker 47. The air was cold and dead. The kind of night where sound doesn't travel. My clock ticked over to 1:43 when my headlights painted him into existence. He was exactly as they'd said. Tall, skeletal, in a thin jacket that wasn't enough for the cold. The briefcase hung from his long fingers. He raised his thumb. I pulled the cruiser onto the shoulder. The gravel crunched under the tires, a sound like grinding teeth. I hit the button to unlock the passenger door. He flowed inside more than he climbed. He set the briefcase on his lap, clicking the worn metal latches once with his thumb. He closed the door without making a sound and stared straight ahead through the windshield. "I appreciate the ride, deputy," he said. His voice was like dry leaves skittering across pavement. I didn't answer. I put the car in drive and pulled back onto the asphalt. I wanted to see what would happen if I just said nothing. The hum of the engine filled the car. A full minute passed. The silence felt heavy, like a physical weight in the air. He let out a soft chuckle. It wasn't a happy sound. The last car, it ran out of road. I kept my eyes forward, my hands tight on the wheel. Another minute crawled by. The green glow of the dashboard instruments felt like the only real thing in the world. "Your wife's name is Karis," he whispered. "She hums when she gardens. An old folk song." Snow Vanderseb. An old folk song. "You had a fight this morning because you forgot to take out the recycling." She said, "It's like you don't even see me sometimes, Ian. You almost turned around and went home. But you didn't." My blood went cold. It was true. Every word. I felt the collar of my uniform dig into my neck. Swallowing was like trying to get down a mouthful of sand. He leaned a little closer. I could feel the chill coming off him. "You smell like stale coffee and regret," he continued, his voice barely audible. "You never told Carries about the Newen boy, did you? The house fire back in '08. You were first on scene. You can still smell the smoke in your sleep sometimes, can't you?" My foot twitched on the gas pedal. That was the one. The one thing I'd locked away in a box in the back of my head and buried. The name I never, ever said. He tapped the briefcase on his lap. A hollow sound. "Want to know what's in here?" he asked, his lips pulling back from his teeth. It wasn't a smile. It wasn't a smile. It was a warning. "It's full of stories, Deputy. Just like yours. So many secrets nobody ever tells." He reached down and with a slow, deliberate motion, flicked open one of the latches. A sharp click echoed in the small space. "We have so much to talk about," he said, his voice dropping to a threat. "We can talk about Carrie's, or we can talk about your daughter. We can talk about the dream she has, the one with the dog in the road." That was it. I slammed on the brakes. The cruiser fishtailed on the shoulder. Before I could even turn to yell at him, he had the door open. He unfolded himself from the seat and stepped out into the darkness. "I'll see you again, Deputy," he said, and shut the door. I stomped on the gas, spitting gravel and dust. I didn't look back until I was a mile down the road. I risked a glance in the rearview mirror. He was there, standing under the sign for mile marker 51. His thumb was out, and the briefcase in his hand was open. End of report. I read that whole thing twice, my heart pounding in my chest. I tried calling Ian. No answer. Straight to voicemail. I called his precinct and asked for him, and the dispatcher got cagey, said he was on extended leave. Then, just an hour ago, a single text came through from his number. He wasn't on the road tonight. I saw him standing at the end of my driveway,